And we are live. Hi there, everybody. Thank you for joining me this evening. This is our Budget Blitz group hangout, and that's my phone reminding me that I'm hosting a hangout. So just excuse me while I flick that off. There we go, that's better. So my name is Michelle House, and I've opened this group publicly, actually, for the first time ever, because what happens in this group is we have a chat about the challenge and what's happening so far. So the Budget Blitz Challenge is something that I've created, and it's a 28-day challenge where we go back to using cash and tracking our spending and getting an awareness of what it is we are doing with our money, where exactly is our money going, and are we happy that that's what we're doing with our money. So I wanted to invite everybody along so that they could have a listen in and a bit of an eavesdrop, if you like, to what we are going to cover tonight. And also, if you wanted to ask questions along the way, feel free to do that. I just need to bring up the Q&A on the side here. That reminds me. There we go. So just to get started, so this challenge we ran, we normally do a timed challenge where we set a date, and then from that date everybody is on that same track. We did something a little different this time because what I found was people were very eager to get started and they missed out and all kinds of things. So I released it like a drip fed it out, and it actually I found that we didn't get the momentum that we normally get within the group, which was fine, completely fine. Everybody else has been getting along with it just fine. And I just wanted to also share some feedback that I received last night from a participant from 12 months ago. So this is the 8th time we've done the challenge. And 12 months ago, a lady by the name of Anita joined the challenge and gave me some great feedback about how doing the tracking and watching what it was she was spending her money on and writing it down and being connected with the actual purchase and the actual budgeting process, that started to change her behavior. And then with that change of behavior, she's been able to save money, and with that saving of the money, she's been able to pay off debt, and she's actually paid off a credit card. So this is the reason that I love this challenge. Is it's like a reset. You know, when you can hit the reset button on the computer, or the reboot, or Control-Alt-Delete if you like. Sometimes we've just got to Control-Alt-Delete ourselves and just start again. There is no perfect time to start. There is just the starting time. So just start them. And this goes for anything in your life. It goes for diets. It goes for, things in your communication with your relationships. Just do it, as Nike's very popular catchphrase is. And with this challenge, when people put their mind to it and just get stuck into doing it, the momentum that they personally gain in their lives really propels them into putting that focus of their money, so putting that money and channeling it to where they want it to be going. I think in this day and age, we've got so much technology available to us. People hardly ever use cash anymore. I think we're up to 80% of people, I think it's up to 90% of people using electronic banking, PayPass, cards, and there's 10% of us that are still addicted to using cash. And with that beautiful convenience, and don't get me wrong, I use PayPass from time to time. I use a debit card. I use internet banking. I love the convenience, but I sometimes get stuck in that automation process of everything, that I just need to stop and step back a bit and then reset and start again. And I can start to see all of these places where I'm slightly overspending. There's actually a report that Dun & Bradstreet did a couple of years ago in relation to people using cards, whether it was a debit card or a credit card. When you use your debit or credit card, you actually overspend by about 18 to 20%. And now that's a really easy thing to do, to overspend by 18 to 20%. But if your spending is if your outgoings for the year, your expenses are 50 grand a year, well, 20% of 50 grand is $10,000. So if you're overspending by $10,000 a year, where's that extra $10,000 going to come from? So Budget Blitz is all about getting on track and getting in line with that, and tracking your money, managing your money, valuing and respecting your money. And people come back and they do it and they reset and they recharge and they go back out, and then they come back and they do it and they reset and they recharge and they go back out. And you know, that's human. We're all human, and that's there is no perfect. We may strive for perfection, but there is no perfection. There is just being human. Anyway, that wraps up why I'm doing this as a challenge, and sorry, why I'm doing this as a live feed to the public tonight. I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to go through from the participants that have been on the challenge. So over the last 4 weeks, I interact with every participant, so we get to answer some questions as we go along. But we also have questions that are really common that seem to come up in every group. So I wanted to cover some of those off so that anybody who's listening today, you know, you can take those tips away for free. No obligation, no nothing. You get to take all these tips away for free and make some changes for yourself in your life. So one of the biggest things that people seem to struggle with is the Budget Blitz program is looking at our variable expenses and how our variable expenses are impacting on our budget or on our money plan. So it's not things like rent, phone, electricity, you know, they're all kind of given expenses. Budget Blitz is all about looking at things like grocery shopping, which food is a given expense, but you can really overspend on groceries, entertainment, kids, travel, all that kind of thing. So variable expenses are what we look at, and groceries seems to be the one that is the most challenging for people to manage. And I was working with a private client the other day, and we were talking about her grocery bill, and it was quite substantial. So it was for what I would say 4 times the average user. And what we had to do to help her cut back with that was actually hit the pause button and go, you know, do you actually really need to go grocery shopping this week? Because that's the other thing. We need to be scheduled. We have our busy lives. We need the groceries done on this day. And if we don't get it done on that day, because of the kids, because of business, because of work, because of whatever, it's not going to get done. So I just have to get it done. And then we end up over purchasing stuff. And one of the best tips I can give people in relation to groceries is look at what you've already got in your fridge, pantry, and your freezer before you go shopping again the next time. Because you probably find that you've got in there maybe even a week of food, and you may only need to top up with fresh fruit or fresh veggies or some dairy maybe. But most people already have enough in their cupboard to get them by. And you know what? That might be boiled eggs on toast for a day, but that one day that you don't spend will add up down the track. So the longer that you can push out the spending, the more that money is retained in your account. Does that make sense? So the aim is to stretch out that spending for as long as you can until you absolutely need it. You absolutely need it. It's not a want. It's not I want to go shopping. It's an I need to go shopping because we have no food left. One of the other tips to do with that is to buy in bulk when you can. One of the things that I love to do is I buy in bulk chicken breast and mince and steak. And I cook it up so that I have it in bags in the freezer, ready to go. And that also helps with those nights where I'm feeling lazy and I could spend $60 on a takeaway. Rather than do that, I've already got that meat, it's already cooked. I just need to add the flavors, the veggies, pasta, whatever, and the meal is done. So cooking in bulk is actually a cheaper way to do it. Our butcher does a buy one, get one free, or buy 2 kilos and it's a cheaper price. So have a look around for, you know, good quality meat, but at a reduced price, and do some bulk cooking. One of the other ways is menu planning or meal planning. So creating a plan for the next 30 days about what food you are going to eat. And if you think about it, you probably are eating the same meal once a week. At least 2 or 3 meals you're probably eating the same. Does that make sense? So one of our favorites here is tacos. We always have tacos on a Tuesday. We always have some kind of roast dinner or something on the weekend. So that's what I mean. Put that into a calendar for 30 days. Then add maybe new recipes if you want to add new recipes. But once you start to see it out on a 30-day plan, you realize that you can actually use leftovers a lot. You can actually cook double batches of something and take things for lunch the next day. I like to come from this place of, I want to come from the place of, I don't have enough money to buy groceries. It's how can I get value from my money? How can I get value from this food? And looking at ways to be creative and have extra, so have it for lunch. Instead of spending $10 on your lunch tomorrow, have leftovers. So being a little bit more thoughtful about what it is you're doing with your money. One of the questions that was actually particularly, it came up a lot in this challenge was about the expense of fresh food and organic food. And it is. I buy that food. We eat organic where we possibly can, and it's very expensive. But in order to have the things that we want in our life, it's a choice. I don't want to use the word sacrifice here, because for me, sacrifice comes from a place of, I want to say negative. So we have, positive, happy, good feelings, negative, sad, miserable feelings. Sacrifice feels really quite miserable to me, whereas choice feels empowering and liberating. So if I can stand in the space of my choice is to spend this money on organic food and not have a holiday or whatever that might be right now, that's what you need to choose to do. One of the things that I have noticed is because there is more demand for organic and really good quality food, the prices are coming down very slowly, very, very slowly. They're not going up, which is a great thing. They're either staying the same or they're coming down. And if you're buying your fresh, excuse me, if you're buying your fresh food from the organic place, make sure, they will usually only have anything in there that's in season. So that's always at an affordable price as well. So I think that pretty much covers off groceries. If anybody's got any questions, you can submit them to me, and I can see over here on the screen, I can see your questions coming up. I can just also see, just let me move my screen over for a second. Okay, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about was, there was a question about how to actually stay in the challenge for those 28 days. One person felt that it was hard to, keep doing it day after day after day. And what I know about myself is that when something is hard, it's actually a sign for me or a trigger for me that I need to have a breakthrough and I need to push through. And I'm sabotaging myself on some level when it's hard, when it's too hard. And I also know that when I'm sitting in that space of it's too hard and not in the space of, oh, this is scary, but I'm going to push through anyway, I'm of more service to people when I'm in that bubble, if that makes sense. When I'm in the too hard, I'm actually not of service to myself or to anybody around me. But if I can give myself that extra push, shove, whatever it is I need to do, it does eventually become easier. I talk about it's just like fitness. It's like going for a 15-minute walk around the block and then the next day being able to do it again, and then maybe have a day off and then go and do it again on the third day, and then on the fourth day do 20 minutes and then just do little bits at a time. I think that's the way that we can stay on track with our budgeting, with our plans for our vision, for our goal, for our desires in our lives. There are times when we don't feel like doing it, but the best thing you can do is to pick yourself up as quickly as possible and move on and continue to do that. Does that make sense? And one of the other reasons that people fall off a challenge is they're actually not connected enough to the reason why they wanted to do the challenge in the first place. So most people, in my experience, want to do the Budget Blitz challenge because they're feeling stressed or worried or anxious, or they're just so foggy and unclear and they don't have clarity about what's happening with their money. So if that is the feeling that you have, you want the opposite of that, which is happiness and joy and freedom and confidence and clarity. You want to be as connected to that as you possibly can. And that will keep you in the momentum of doing the change in your life, whether the change is about money or health or relationships or whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's not money isn't just it. This is a life lesson, and the life lesson is getting to that space and that desire of, I really would prefer the clarity, thank you very much, than the misery and the anxiety and the stress, and getting yourself really connected to that happiness. And a great way to do that is to start to already acknowledge that you are in that place. Look for where in your life are you happy and be grateful for it. Gratitude is a massive motivator. Gratitude opens up the space for us to live in this place of possibility. So gratitude is really important as well. I did go off on a bit of a tangent there, but I can come back to that if anybody's got any questions. I'm just conscious that we keep this session to around 30 minutes because people have kids that they've got to follow up with homework and getting organised for tomorrow. So we'll keep it to the 30 minutes. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was my business and my programs are called Rich Living. And for me, rich living is, yes, having money, but also it is having a rich life and feeling rich about what it is I do and what it is people do every day. So with the Rich Living programs, Budget Blitz covers off the practical aspects of money. There is another stage to Budget Blitz, which is another program which takes it just a little bit further, where we delve into more of that life planning situation where, you know, our money is sorted and under control over here, and then it's under control here at this middle part of my life, and then, you know, we are in this process where one day we will die. That's not news to anybody, I know, but being prepared for those kinds of things from a financial point of view in relation to having documents in place, having family aware of what's happening with money, because we have to talk about it at that time in our lives, either from the person that may be passing on, or from maybe you've got a parent that needs to be having those discussions with you, an elderly parent. So that's the practical side of the Rich Living program. The other program that we're just about to release information about is the Peace Project, which is more about the emotional aspects around money and the intention around money. Money, unfortunately or fortunately, depends on what side of the coin you're on at this point in your life, is a very big significant part of our world, because it's the energy exchange that we all use, and not being clear about our intentions with money and not being clear with our emotions around money lets all the practical stuff that we've just put into place helps that to fall apart really quickly. So it's not just about this practical aspect. Money has a lot of aspects to it, but this Budget Blitz program, for me, I created it for me because I had to live it myself. It's that foundation that I needed to feel really solid and grounded about taking that next step. So I just wanted to share that with you because I had a few questions about what happens after Budget Blitz. So that gives you a little bit of an indicator there. The last week of the Budget Blitz program is all about looking at that 28 days and analysing what you did with your spending. And what we do is we go through each spend and highlight in pink or blue the needs or the wants, because it's really easy to see where you're buying from the need and when you're buying from want. So we obviously have needs, which is food, shelter and water, electricity, and clothing. They're the needs that are absolutely essential, and at the top of every budget list should be those four. But the wants are the things that slip in there and that take money away from us on a day-to-day basis that we didn't really intend to because we weren't thinking about it. So a want might be, I want a coffee, rather than I need a coffee. So looking at where you're spending $5 a day on coffee, that's $25 a week. Is that $25 on coffee where you really want to spend it, Or would you rather that $25 was being paid towards credit card debt, or a savings plan, or a peace of mind account? Excuse me. So that analysis is what we get to with Budget Blitz, is determining what's a need, what's a want, and am I spending on purpose? Okay, one of the other things we spoke about was, somebody asked me a question about how do you stick to a budget and pay off debt. This is actually quite a big topic, and I have a plan for a webinar or a hangout or something. I don't know, it'll come together to explain in a little bit more detail what to do with your debt, especially if you have a couple of consumer debt accounts. So for example, if you had a personal loan, a couple of credit cards, and maybe an account for, you know, a Harvey Norman fridge or something like that. What you need, the first thing you need to do is, well, there's actually a couple of options, and I'm going to cover these off really quickly. And for the person who has asked me specifically about this, we can private message a bit more detail about it. I'm happy to talk to you about it. But there's a couple of schools of thought about how to pay off your credit card and consumer debt. One is called debt stacking. The other one is called snowballing. And the other one, I don't actually know what the name of it is. I'll have to look it up, but it's more about how you feel about the debt. So debt stacking is where you get the highest interest rated debt. So if you've got 4 debts, say the highest one is 25%, that's the card that you're going to aim at paying off first. And what you do is you pay the minimum on every one, but with that one you pay the minimum plus some. And then when that one's paid off, you come down to the next one and you pay the minimum plus some that you're paying up here onto that one, and then you stack it, and you're kind of stacking it down or stacking it up, whichever way you want to do it. Snowballing is the reverse. It's more about, well, it's not the reverse, but it's more about looking at the balance owing. And I really like the snowball method, and I can say that I've used both of them with private clients, and the snowball method is way more effective. What the snowball method does is it looks at the balance, and it is about paying off the lowest balance owing card debt. So say you've got $1,000, $5,000 and $10,000. Pay off the $1,000 one first, the $5,000 one next, and the $10,000 one after that. And the idea behind this and why it really works is, as human beings, we love to achieve and we love to be able to cross something off a list. And $1,000 gets paid off really quickly, and being able to put a red pen through the $1,000 debt makes you feel good. And that feel good feeling moves you on to the next one. With the debt stacking, the one I talked about before, because the interest rate is such a big chunk, it actually takes a really long time to pay off that first debt. So that's why the snowballing method is more effective. Now, the third school of thought is all about how you feel about the debt. So if you had, say you had a credit card that you racked up because you bought lots of shoes, and then you had another credit card that was, you ended up just putting your living expenses on, but then you took out a personal loan for a boyfriend because he needed a car, but now you're not with that boyfriend, and that just really annoys you every time you go and get that statement, or every time you have to pay that bill. That's the one that really annoys you and really pisses you off the most. That's the debt that you pay off first, because energetically, if you're into that, energetically, that's the one that needs to go first to give you the freedom to feel good about the money. Does that make sense? I haven't used that one with any of my clients yet, because I find the snowballing method with the clients that I'm working with at the moment is way more effective. So that's a really, really quick rundown about that. If you need any further information, give me a buzz and I can handle that for you. And we've got 5 minutes to go, but I also wanted to just pick out a couple of things that people had said about the challenge and what they liked about the challenge. They really like that writing it down, and actually writing down, I spent $300 on groceries on Thursday, then I spent $40 on fruit and veg. But the actual physical act of writing it down has helped them understand themselves and their spending more than if they were just tapping it into a tracker. Now, trackers are great. So I'm talking about like apps on your phone or apps on the computer. They are really great for monitoring where you're at, and really handy if you're out and you need to have a quick look and see what's left and how much money you can spend. However, during the challenge, I think it's really important that that writing down does work. I do a lot of reading and a lot of research about neuroplasticity and consciousness. Technically they're different things, but I kind of think they're one and the same. But anyway, when I go to pick up a pen to write something, you have to imagine, you see this behind me, this picture here. This is actually a blown up picture of a brainstem. And these are all the neural pathways that are going off at the end, firing off at the end. It's a beautiful picture. It looks like a tree. Now, what happens is, if you can just imagine your brain sending a message to my hand to pick up my phone, to press the button, to open the app, to put in the number. That's about it, right? But over here, my neural pathways have to go pick up the pen, hold the pen the right way, move your fingers down a bit more so it's comfortable, pick up the piece of paper, write the number down. Can you see how you're firing off more neural pathways as this is all happening? And then you have, I believe, and what I've read too, is you have a connection to what it is that you just did. Now, whether that's filing it and storing it in a place in your brain for quick recall later or something, I'm not sure. But everybody who's been on the challenge is challenged about writing their spending down, but they're challenged for the first couple of days, and then they really get to see why and how that works. The other thing that they're challenged by, just for a little bit, because I talk them around really quickly, the other thing they're challenged by is using cash. Now, using cash is the same concept. I don't have my wallet with me, but if I have cash in my hand, I can see what it is I have left. I can see that I've got a $50 note. If I have my FPOS card and I know there's $100 on it, but I only want to spend $50 on that present, I guarantee you, if I walk into a shop, I will find something for $50. But with the card, if it happens to be $60, I'll go, oh, it's only an extra 10. I'll make up that $10 somewhere else. I won't even, or sometimes not even say that. So the idea of using cash really makes you think twice. And that's what we're trying to do, is trying to get these neural pathways that used to be really active when we were using cash, then have died down a bit. We need to reactivate them and spark them back up again and get us thinking and remembering and desiring. Is this really what I want? Is this really something that I need? And making the choice. I see far too many people living day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, getting to the end of the year and going, oh my God, I wish I didn't do that. A year worth of overspending is way too late. If you can pick up your overspend in a week, you can catch it up the next week. But if it's taking you until the end of the year, till you get your group certificate or your payment summary or whatever it is for you in the country that you're in, that end of the year that says, congratulations, you earned $120,000 this year. And you go, oh my God, I think I spent 130. It's too late and too hard to make up that money. If you can correct yourself quickly, it's just that little bit easier. And you know what? Your relationships are happier. You can speak to your husband nicely about money. Your kids don't, you'll be more joyful around your children, because you're not worried about your money. This is what it's all about. For me, it's all about, oh my God, it's all about rich living. It's all about living a rich life. It's about being present. It's about being connected. It's not having money rule you and run you. It's you running your money. And if you can do whatever it is, little tips, little somethings to help you get through, then that's what we do. So I just wanted to add, I don't know if you're on Periscope, but Periscope is a new app out by Twitter, which today I did my first ever Periscope. I'll post it up in this link so you can have a look. And it wasn't to do with business. I wasn't selling anything. I was just talking about who I was and what I do, and was reminded by my children. I mentioned in there, oh gosh, we need to go and get happy. and I had a go on a flying fox. So if you'd like to see me on a flying fox, you can have a look at my Periscope link below. But what I want to say to wrap up tonight, and also to wrap up for my Budget Blitz challenges, is it's not meant to be a struggle. It's not meant to be hard. It's meant to be easy. And whatever we can do to live our lives on purpose, with clarity and with confidence, we need to be doing it. So it's 8:31. I think I did really well. I only overtalked by 1 minute. I've got 2 viewers on live now, and I know I've got people coming in the next half an hour to watch the link. So if you've got any questions, whoever's watching there now, and oh, hang on, oh, okay. Whoever is watching there now and has some questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll just keep the broadcast open for another minute or so. And if you are interested in following what I do, you can jump on my Facebook page, which is Michelle House International. And you can also go to my website, michellehouse.com.au. And if you're interested in our next Budget Blitz challenge, it kicks off on the 10th of August. And if you stay tuned, oh no, it's actually already been set up. Hang on a moment, somebody's letting me know it's already been set up. If you enter the coupon code CHANGE, CHANGE, to order the Budget Blitz program, you'll get $40 off. So instead of $75, it is $35. Now that is a flash sale, and it's only on for the next couple of days, because we are just so keen to get this out there and get some momentum with this program, because we can see how many lives this is really, really helping and really changing. So I thank you. I thank you so much for your time tonight, and I really look forward to meeting you and catching up with you in the future. Bye for now.